So my name is Suzie Cahn and I'm the project manager for Voice's new Recycling or Ambassador programme. And I'm just going to go in here to one of Dublin's biggest material recycling plants and talk to Des Crinion, the plant manager, about all of the processes that go on inside.
Okay, Suzie, welcome to the MRF. My name is Des Crinion and I'm the general manager here. And I suppose the first thing I have to explain, what is a MRF? Because most of the public think it's something to do with the Smurfs, and it's not. And I'm not Mr. Smurf. A MRF is basically short for Materials Recycling Facility. And what we do here is we take all the recycling bins in the Dublin area, we bring them in here, and we segregate them into all the quality materials for end recycling use. Basically, that's what we do here. Well, to give you a kind of a scale of the size of the operation here, it was built 5 years ago. We have over 120 people working on 2 shifts, and we take in a staggering amount of material, really, when you think about it. It's over 350 tonnes a day. So that is a massive mountain of material that you've seen in our intake shed. It equates down, if you think about it, it equates down to 60 of the bin trucks that come to your house twice every fortnight. So that truck, we get 60 of those in. Well, that is actually 40,000 households every day that would come into this facility. As you can see, it's a mountain. If you had a football pitch, it would be 30 foot high over the whole football pitch, to give you an idea. Yeah, so what we do is when we get the material in, we run it through our plant, and our plant is a mixture of mechanical sorting, optical sorting and hand sorting. So a lot of the people actually hand pick the material. And when we get it in, we pick it into the various recycled material. The number one recyclate being paper. So 45% of what's in your recycle bin is paper. That gets collected, baled up and shipped out. The next biggest single stream is cardboard, and cardboard boxes now account for approximately 10% of what's in the bin. And we're seeing, it's interesting on those two, because the paper percentages are going down. We see people buying and reading less papers. I think online media content seems to be much more important, but cardboard is actually increasing. And we think that's coming from the likes of online buying, and also some of the discount supermarkets give you a cardboard box at the checkout, and we're seeing them coming into us. Your food cans, so any of your beans or tins or that type of stuff, that's about 1.5%. Aluminium cans, which is the soft drinks, that's also about 1.5%. Now, it sounds a very small percentage, but it's a very high quality material. After that, then we split out. We have plastic bottles, which are your mineral and your water bottle, and they're running at about 5%. Now, we think there's a lot more out there, so it's something to concentrate on to try and get more of those into the recycle bin. And then the rest of the trays, so the pots, tubs and trays, which are all your yogurts and your different trays, your food trays, they're running about 1.5 to 2%. And also there are a lot more out there, important to wash them, just have them nice and clean for us, that's all. So we have the PET bottle and the HD, so we count the two of those together, we're at 5%. But we split out the PET, so that's your water bottle and your mineral bottle. We split that one out, and then we also split HD, and we split it in two actually. So we have a clear HD, a natural HD, which is your milk bottle, and there's a lot of that in Dublin. We seem to use more HD plastic bottles than Tetra Pak. And then we also have the rest of the HD, which is colour, and that tends to be your shampoo and or your detergent bottles, your Domestos, that type of bottle, the dark blues, yellows, greens, and we split them by colour. So we'll have a nice clear bottle, and then we have a colour bottle. We are looking at anything between 30 and 40% that's non-recyclable. If we have 350 tonnes coming in every day, 250 tonnes of that is recyclable. And that goes out in shipping. We bale it up into 1 tonne bales, we load it into shipping containers, 25 tonne at a time, and it gets shipped out down to Dublin Port. So 10 of the big articulated trucks leave here every day, if you can picture that. So a massive amount. Unfortunately, 4 additional articulated trucks leave here at 25 tonnes each, and maybe even more, with waste. So that's waste, it's different material that's coming into us. And that waste historically went to landfill. Now, we have changed it around a little bit where we're making a fuel that can go to the cement kilns, but it's still a waste. It's not recyclable, and it's also damaging some of the good quality material as well. The biggest contaminants we see at the moment in the recycle bin are food would be probably our number one. We get an awful lot of clothes in. So from spring to summer, we'll get all the winter clothes, and then from autumn into winter, we'll get all the summer clothes. And we get tons and tons. We could get 1 to 2 tons of clothes a week. It gets mixed up with the rest of our recyclates. And also, when we take them out, they've been dirtied and we can't use them anymore. So they're completely wasted. So if anyone has clothes, please go to your charity shop, but please don't put them in the recycle bin. The next big offender are nappies, actually, which is hard to believe, but we get an awful lot of nappies. We get a huge, huge amount of nappies, and they cause a lot of problems. Summertime, we get a lot of garden clippings, so we get either grass and or hedge trees, that type of stuff. And from now on, during the winter time, we'll get the ashes coming from the fire. And people put them into a bag, and when they go through our line, the bag opens up and the ash goes absolutely everywhere. So you can imagine horrible rotten food, you can imagine the smelly nappies, you can imagine the ashes going through this line, and we have 50 people on each shift hand-picking this. Somebody has to physically pick that out of the line because of the contamination with the food and the nappies, and also from syringes. We have to supply our workers with needle-proof gloves, because there is quite a risk of needle prick in the plant as well as just handling the horrible food and the nappies and the different things. So the good news story from the plant here is that we make some really, really good quality material that's used, recycled back into product. For instance, most of the paper goes to the Far East. Now, the first question is asked, why does it go to the Far East? And a lot of the plastic historically went to the Far East as well. So China would be our single biggest customer. And the reason is because most of the goods we buy today in Ireland are actually coming from China or India or definitely from that part of the world. And it's all packaged. So when it comes to here in a container, that container is sitting in Dublin Port, and we use that as the most efficient travel method to get it back to a manufacturing facility. Historically, Ireland has had no recycling facilities where we can actually take either paper or plastic and turn it back to a product. And while it sounds like, and it is the other side of the world, and it sounds a little bit crazy, this material is being used again for packaging that will eventually end back up on the supermarket shelves in Ireland. So it's a closed loop. It's a massive loop at the moment. It actually uses resources efficiently because these containers will be going back empty. And also, another thing, China is such a huge user of virgin raw material. We're helping to replace this with recycled material, and that's very important. But we have some manufacturing here in Ireland, especially on the plastic side of things. So some of our HDPE bottles, so our milk bottles and our colour bottles that we mentioned earlier, they're going to a company in Galway, and they're actually making pipes, buckets, calf feeders, innovative products like that. A very good company, and that's a lovely story. We also have a company down in Monaghan who take some more of our PET bottles, so our mineral bottles, and they're making a flake, and then that's been produced in Ireland into a fibre. So some of the fibres in your clothes or different industrial fibres have been actually made from your drink bottles. Well, I suppose a couple of important messages that would be good to get back out to the householder and what you actually put into the recycle bin. If you are happy enough to empty your bin onto the kitchen floor, then I'm happy enough to take it. If you empty your bin out and it's making a mess, I don't really want it, to be honest, because there's something nasty in it. We like things to be loose, and this is a message we probably haven't gotten out. So when you put it into a bag, we have to take it out of the bag. Or if you put the bottle into the cereal box, we have to take that out because they're two different types of material. So loose is really important. Clean is important. But I don't mean you have to put it into the dishwasher and clean it and dry it. But if you give something a quick rinse out that there's not going to be smelly food, that's all we're talking about. So the important thing is that if the bottles and the boxes are coming in, they're clean, they're loose, and of course they're empty, because I don't want to get the last of the cereals or whatever. So there's no food in them. They're just empty and clean. Loose for us, perfect. Yeah, and the other nice thing that we're looking at the moment is to be able to use, especially the HD bottle, we want to be able to process that. So bring it in, we'll have to wash it, we'll granulate it, we'll extrude it into a pellet, and then that pellet could be used to make a bag for life. But we could do all that in Ireland, so we'll be closing the loop, we'll be creating jobs, and we'll be looking after our own problems here, which is a much better solution.